Hi friends, today I want to talk to you about a very important topic that I think we all struggle with, and that is why sometimes we find ourselves being unhappy, or why sometimes we find ourselves being judgy or critical of ourselves and others. So did you know that the main reason why you are not happy in life sometimes is because of your lack of self-love and your lack of self-acceptance? Those I think are like two main reasons. Really, self-love and acceptance go together. To me, you can just put it together. So self-love, right? Because if you accept yourself, you will love yourself. However, I think that for majority of us, we did have self-love when we were super small kids, maybe 1, 2, 3 years old, before we started to absorb critical comments from others. And I'm not sure if you can recall that, but for me, when I look back, those are like the most purest joyful moments I have experienced, because I didn't have this critical voice inside of me telling me, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't say that, you shouldn't be that, you shouldn't run so fast. So for us to really find this pure joy again, we have to go back to the pure self-love and self-joy again. So how do we do it, right? We all have been contaminated by our parents who meant well, by adults in our life who also meant well, sometimes by strangers. Sometimes people have been contaminated by ourselves, by constant comparing ourselves to others. So how do we go back there? Because I know I truly have worked hard to go back to those pure love moments that I had for myself when I was a kid. I'm not there yet, but I have to tell you that I got a lot better at this, and that's why I want to share with you some tips and how I got there. So for me, is being self-aware is really the key. So you have to first start catching yourself when you have those bad thoughts about yourself, right? When you self-criticize yourself. I have friends who call themselves fat, who call themselves dumb, and I tell them, like, how can you do that, right? You pretty much are cursing yourself. You're cursing the cells in your body. I'm not sure if you've heard about Masaru Emoto. He did the water experiment. Remember, we are mainly water. So I don't want to go into details in this video, but Masaru Emoto was talking about how words have powerful impact on crystallization of water. So if you realize that you are mostly water, this is how your words and thoughts also, because those as well have vibration, they do affect every cell in your body. So you have to remember that whenever you say something critical about yourself. Now let's talk about how you cannot love others if you don't love yourself, right? We talk about you have to love others as you love yourself. So if you love yourself in a poor judgmental way, in a critical way, in a negative way, this is how you will also be relating to others. So that is a very important point to remember. Now let's talk about self-comparison to other people, right? Because I think when you compare yourself to others, you cannot really be happy. I remember when I was a kid, one of the teachers told us this very great advice, and she said, never compare yourself to others, because you either will find yourself better and will make you conceited, or you'll find yourself worse than others and you will feel really bad about yourself. So I like to always think of, I want to just compete with myself. Like if there's the only person I compete with, it's with myself, to get better against to when I compare myself to what I was yesterday or a week ago. So that is the only competition you should have with yourself. Because remember, we are all very unique human beings. God made us all different, right? We all have very different DNA. There are no two identical people. Even identical twins, even identical twins are not fully identical, right? I know a few of them, and they have different personality, or sometimes one of them can have a little bit different hair than the other, or they have different preferences, or they have different hobbies. So truly, there are no two identical people, And when you think about self-love, you have to remember that you are made in an image of God, and God made you as a very unique individual. There's nobody else like you. Therefore, stop comparing. Stop comparing yourself to others. Only try to get better. One other thing I want to say about this here, self-love and self-acceptance doesn't mean that you just say, hey, this is who I am and I don't need to improve. That's how God made me. Okay, well, I don't know, I don't, there's no self-improvement. No, self-love and self-acceptance means that you will work on yourself and you will try to get better, right? Because you love yourself and you want the best for yourself. But you will do the self-improvement in a loving way, not in a critical way. You will do it in a way of like, okay, I love myself, therefore I'm going to eat healthy. I'm not calling myself fat. I'm not calling myself ugly. I just say, hey, I love myself, therefore I want to be the healthiest I can possibly be. And therefore, I am more careful about what I put in my body. That is a very important form of self-love. You do improvements, but you do them in a loving way, not in a judgmental way. And I'm not sure if you have noticed, but I have friends who constantly say bad things about themselves, and people who say bad things about themselves, it's almost like they get worse and worse, and that only makes sense because words are very powerful, right? So I have friends who, whenever she started calling herself fat, she's gained 30 more pounds, but it's because that's the power of words over her cells in her body here. Hey, I'm fat already, I might as well just continue to be fat, instead of just saying, hey, I want to get better and I'm not going to say anything bad about myself. I'll only focus on improvement. So remember, self-love and self-acceptance go hand in hand. You cannot say you love yourself but then criticize yourself and say mean things about yourself and just be totally negative, right? Watch little kids. It's pretty amazing how little kids have this amazing self-love, right? They are not contaminated yet by society. They are not contaminated yet by social media. And they can fully express themselves and love themselves in a good, positive way. I want to show you my kitten here. She's asleep, but I want to show her as a great example of self-love. This little kitten, she totally loves herself. She doesn't compare herself to other kittens. She does what she wants whenever she wants to do it. She fully loves herself. And when she wants to go and be alone, she leaves and she goes alone. I don't think she likes camera very much. But see, and she goes. And she is happy leaving when she needs to leave without any guilt. This is how we all need to be. Do what you want. Remember, this is the only life you have in this body. So do your best and love yourself and stop criticizing yourself. But one thing I want to share with you that would really help me is just reminding yourself that I fully love and accept myself every day. You have to say it in your head out loud every day. Some people do a mirror exercise. This was very much popularized by Louise Hay. She did the mirror exercise, the self-love mirror exercise, where she would tell herself, looking in the mirror, I love myself. And I do it sometimes too. I'm not very consistent with it. And I know it's hard for most of us to tell ourselves to the mirror, I love you. But you need to do that, because remember, how you feel about yourself, it spreads into everything in your life. It spreads into all of your relationships. It spreads into your work life. It spreads into your social life. So your self-love and your self-acceptance should be your main priority. And one thing I also want to mention here, remember, self-love doesn't mean that you're selfish. I know we sometimes struggle with it because we have this thing of like we want to be helping other people all the time, and I'm the same way. I'm an empath, so I always would feel bad saying no to people. You know, I would say yes going to a party, and I not really feeling like I want to go, but I would do it all just because I committed myself. I don't want to disappoint somebody. But remember, self-love really is, you cannot give your best if you don't have self-love. And sometimes self-care doesn't mean you're selfish. It means that you are truly taking care of yourself first. Remember how on the airplane you have to put an oxygen mask on yourself first before you even put it on your kids. It's because when you're exhausted, when you are dying, you cannot help anybody else. So keep that in mind. Do not feel bad about taking care of yourself. Try to improve yourself, right? There's always room for improvement. Hey, I want to improve myself all the time. I work on things. I try to get better at my job, my day job. I try to, get better with my relationship with others. I try to be a better mom to my daughter. I always review my actions daily, but I do it in a loving way. I don't do it out of the negative approach. It's more just of the positive self-improvement. So this is where self-love comes in, where you improve yourself, but in a positive way. So remember, say to yourself a few times a day, I fully love and accept myself. Remember, you are just human. You are not a saint. None of us is fully perfect, but we are here put on this earth to live our life to the best ability we can, and also to be happy. I truly believe that one of our missions in life is to be happy, because nobody wants to be miserable. And also, when you are miserable, you're only spreading more misery in your life. I promise you, we all know those people who are hating themselves, therefore they try to make everybody around them miserable. You don't want to be this person. So start with self-love, start with self-acceptance. If there's anything you want to improve about yourself, do it in a very loving and positive way. I hope that video helps you. Our channel is all dedicated to law of attraction and feeling your best, living your happiest life. The tagline is happier you. My goal is really just to help you be your happiest, in spite of the circumstances in your life, because we all live life, and we know life sometimes brings different issues and hurdles, but remember, you want to feel your happiest regardless of the circumstances, and that all starts from within. I hope that video helps you, and I will see you in my next video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Bye.